Hey, everybody. So we should be live right now. Welcome to the Cool Stuff Inc. Destiny Prime at Waterford, and we should be getting round one started somewhat soon. So currently still doing a little bit of the last minute checks, but we should be all set. I'll be flying solo for right now, but we will have people chiming in soon. Scheduling's a little tough nowadays, holidays and whatnot. But definitely be capable of seeing how things are going down in Florida right now. If there's been any meta changes since any of the more recent events, we've definitely had a lot of events where some lesser known decks had kind of come out of nowhere. Um, so we'll definitely see how that goes. Play it by ear. But if anybody in chat can hear me, if you guys would kindly type something in, that'd be great. But let's see. Sorry, 1 second. Just catching up on all the stuff. Reflex with the sub. Good old reflex. All right. Good to hear. Good to hear. Thank you, Nikki Morgan. So pretty much, we're just waiting now. We got the old school Fear and Deadman regional mat, and then we've got I think that's Cody, right, on the other side. But expect those to get covered up by whatever people decide to play with. So we have black strips here. Why do we have? Okay, so it's just my screen stretched too much. But yeah, I don't know. Got nothing really to talk about. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. I'll do my best to answer those, and definitely get something going right now. A lot of sharing of this stuff on the internet. But we'll get some more info in soon. What's going on? But so I'd say my average expectations are, we're going to see some chopper, probably a small bit of Raylo. I know one of the the guys that Jesus Christ, my voice is cracked. One of the guys is playing Vader. So I expect the Vader to pretty much be trying to fear and dead men and punch people in the gut. Probably see some Forlom and Afra. Nothing too out of the ordinary. I'll be interested to see if we see any Rainbow Snoke though, because that's the new darling, right? Like just came out the cut, and most people don't know about it still to this day, but we'll find out. But anyone chiming in? How was your Thanksgiving? Hope it was going well. Filled up on the turkey bird, maybe some ham, macaroni. Enough. F stuffing. We don't want no part of no stuffing. So yeah, typing is really loud. Thank you, Bubba Hotep. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. Thank you for checking in. But yeah, trying to think like what it's been a while since I've done any like the vlog stuff. I really just kind of don't leave my house much anymore. a couple times a week. Maybe go play some Argent Saga. Then food shopping in the norm. But it's a little weird not having to go drive an hour to work every other day or so. But yeah, I miss you guys. I miss kind of recording all those videos. Only a little bit. It's a little crazy sometimes doing that stuff. But who knows? We'll see. I'm hoping. I'm excited to see the covert missions spoilers coming out soon. We did get some word that they should be starting soonish. So it'll be nice to see if we're back on the list for those. But gotta hope for it, right? Hopefully, get some decent stuff. If we get to some trash level stuff, I have no mind. I have no problem saying, it's just awful. Like rebellion leader, that was a great one for us to have. It's like, oh, okay, you know, we start with FN, and I think we had Luminara to start. Did we have Lumi? I feel like we had Luminara, like that first one we did where all the Polish leaks happened. But you'd have to be back from Spirit of Rebellion to know about that one. All right. Well, hopefully this action gets started soon, and see how long I can, kind of talk to myself, I guess. So like meta wise, what are we looking at? I'd say the big three, not including new Rainbow Snoke, is what? Chopper, Forlum slash Afra Share, and then pretty much Mill. I think Mill can beat like every deck except for it gets absolutely brutalized by Chopper. Absolutely. All right. So we got some people sitting down. All right. All right. See if we can make out these dice. Let's go. Well, we got Padme and we got a Leia. So I think this is Christian on the left. If that's not Christian, then I'd be surprised. He might be the only guy that plays that. And then we got Afro Sentinel. We'll find out who the elite configuration is in just a minute. Yes, Couch Judge Nick Nelson. Vader, obviously. Vader doesn't know what he's doing. All right. See if we get a text in that gives us the name, but I'm fairly certain this is Christian on the left. There are very few people in this world that play Padme Leia. There was the guy who played at our prime, and there was Christian. Boom. 5-card stack to count. We get a 4-card stack on the other side to make sure your deck's legal. Because the last thing you want to do is present your deck to your opponent in your short cards, and then they find out. Like, realistically, you could get a game loss for that. Very seldom does that actually occur, but it could happen. Especially in the OG days for old card games. Like, you really wanted to count because people would cheat. You stack their hand, or they'd palm their 5 cards. Start. It's kind of like silly things. The deck stacking, obviously, counting is irrelevant there, but old school palming the starting 5 is definitely how you got Exodiad out of existence at times. All right. So Glare is going to be a little brutal on the hand cam, but let's go see what I can do here. So the left, we need to go up a little bit higher. We need to go a little higher on both of them, to be fair. All right. If we can get this going. All right. So we'll do that for that one. Oh, only. So I'm hoping that this is about right. We'll find out shortly. But having the controls of the hand cams is really nice for this. Oh, man. Dropping the cards is brutal. Shuffling it in your lap. Questionable. Definitely not calling him a cheater. I'm just like saying random stuff. All right, let's see what we got here. We got a suppressive on the left side and a deja vu. Didn't see much else there. Still can't see the right side. Let's man, how far right is that guy? Jesus. Can't tell if the person's just tall or just sitting way offside. I think they're just sitting way off. Like if you see where the leg is, the leg's like going way off the right side. Christian's more at middled. Yeah, it's way off center. Oh, we can kind of see a peak. Let's go further. Oh, wrong way, wrong way. Man, we had to go deep to the corners of this one. We got some 1080 action in this. I never checked the settings. What he had the internet as. I'm curious now. All right, so we're at 6K. All right, we got a respite here. Turns our single diapher to the side, which is quite the normal play because you're not going to give up the 2 dice from Grievous, and Sentinel Messenger's ability is quite good. We get a Moxie here to start on Leia 3. This is going to put them. It's going to put the opponent in a weird position, primarily because as a 3 wide deck, if he like delves a fist here and Leia like rips like double or triple special, which is totally possible with Padme, he could just be taking massive damage. The big thing that's going to happen here is that our Padme Leia player does not have a villain card in the pool or villain card in play. So the specials only have to be paid for by a single resource, which is very, very affordable when we're looking at 6 indirect, right? If you could pay 1 to eat 6 indirect, you would do it. But I guess at that point it's giving 1. So opponent's questioning what to do here. Get a 4th resource, and the special goes off. It takes all the damage, so I definitely expect a Mega Blaster here. Which might be a little overboard. Theed hasn't been okay, so we do get a Delve. Theed has yet to be used. There's a 2 focus on General Grievous. So do we see a Mega or do we see a Fist? That's the real question. No, you don't draw yet. Yeah, you put that card in play. So we do see the Fist. Correctly drew after, that's fine. And we do get a 3 ranged, which looks like it might be for 1. I feel like I see a hint of yellow at the bottom, but it's really hard to tell at this point, so. So we get what? I want to say that might be a 2 focus on Padme and a resource. This one's it's going to be a tough one. I'm not sure why the quality seems kind of low. I could throw on autofocus and see if that changes anything. Here, let me try it real quick. We're just gonna. Now that really didn't change anything. All right. We'll try it manually. Well, so yeah, one second. We're gonna make everything real fuzzy for a second. Okay, yeah, no, that's just real bad. All right, yeah. So none of that's gonna work. So we will ride as is. Sorry about that for making anybody lose their mind right there. Um, yeah, he's definitely eating ass loads of damage for that. He can pay for 1 of it though, and if he does get to punch Leia in the ding ding, then we could be looking at like a dead Leia early next round. Like the 2 focus could flip the Vader into a 3 and then flip the messenger. And then use that focus to flip the Fate Fist again and have be at 8 total damage. That was a crazy amount of shuffling on damage. That was just kind of insane. But it's easy to notice because it was just 4 AoE plus the 1 on the Sentinel. Then he got paid off for the last one. So we get a probe here, trying to rip the hand. The Deja Vu gets hit, and a suppressive. He plays a suppressive after. So yes, the card we can't see very well next to the resources is Suppressive Fire. But Fist comes back out. If Fist hits a natty 3 here, then we're going to be looking at like a 1 health Leia at the end of this. We get a 4 indirect for 1. He's obviously not going to be able to pay for that. So I expect to see 3 and then the focus. Deja Vu gets discarded for a reroll. I definitely would have liked to see that reroll happen before the suppressive. Double focus. Yep, to the 3 in the resource. Or 3 in the focus, sorry. 3 more goes into Leia. So Leia's at 5, 6 left. And then we had a claim here. At least threaten something. Jesus Christ, man. Ditches the picking. We do get an impulsive here with a Deja and an instigate. So if he rolls out the Leia, he could then instigate out Padme into the impulsive. But without the villain card in pool, it's going to be kind of tough. All right, so he's rolling on Padme first because what he'll do is he'll protect the Leia with the instigate. If he hits a 3 focus, then he's in a strong spot. 2 of the sides say focus, and one of them looks like it doesn't say a 1. So we could be saying a very strong impulsive play here. We get a PA to hit a 3 disrupt. All right, we get the Deja in play. I'm a little confused where I thought he still had a resource or something left. Because he ended the last round with like 1 or 2 of them, didn't he? So he would have had 4, went down to 2 here. And yeah, I guess he does have 2 at the side, but those look off the table as far as I'm concerned. You could definitely be counting those there. It's for me, it's a weird thing to like he had the stuff on the mat and then took them off the mat. But I guess if he had the 4 next to each other, then it makes realistic sense. Okay, he is playing something, so he's playing a dangerous game here. So he goes in with the Moxie because he wants to be able to hit a bunch of specials all at once. He had no money for the suppressive fire to eat the Grievous 2. So Grievous 2 could just be trying to punch over here, use it to flip, and then run straight into the impulsive. Yeah, it's just the main dilemma here is if he doesn't have a 3 focus, 2 specials aren't coming through. He'd only get 1 special to come through. but it was a three focus. So pays for the first one, pays for the second one, and then takes four. So that guy's dead. Grievous is at one, and Afra's dead. Then he has a single. I think he has a single one left on the Padme. So if he doesn't have a Forsaken here, he's dead. And he forgot about the indirect. Crash landings are useless here, and a bunch of droids. Yep. The indirect he chose to take was just incorrect on the Afra. Yeah, but he could have DM'd straight to the Sentinel, knowing that he's going to take specials and die. Instead, he put it on the Afra, so it gave him access to um, two less health than he should have. He would have had 3 health left remaining, 2 on Afra, 1 on Grievous. So then he could have killed the Padme. I'm sorry, killed the Leia right there, taken the one to Afra, re-rolled out Afra plus Vader's Fist, and like let's say got 4 shields out of that, and then he's fighting with 6 health versus a naked Padme. But in theory, like the suppressive probably would eat the Aphrodite there, so like that's all like completely irrelevant. And that's how we have a 5-minute game, and now get to sit here forever. I don't even know how much time's left, but I'm gonna assume there's like 20 minutes. I'm doing okay, P Dubs. Doing okay. Uh, so yeah, let's go set a timer because I don't know how much time was on this thing, but I'm gonna guess we got about 20 minutes. Yup. All right. So we'll chill on this for a bit, and then I'll switch over to the sponsor page. So I think at this point, you guys should definitely ask questions. Let's talk. What do you guys want to say or talk about? Because we got a whole lot of time on our hands. So you can talk about anything, but I've seen some of the stuff Couch Judge Nick Nelson posts, and it's a little cray cray. Yep. Something like, oh, what happened? It's like, oh, I took like 6 Leia specials to the dome and I died. When will Thrawn be great again? I don't really. I'm not a big fan of the current Thrawn that we have. Like I think he's solid, right? Like for 19 points, you're looking at 2 melee, 3 melee, 2 focus, 2 discard resource. The single resource side is a huge concern for me. I think it could definitely be much better than it was or is, um, but it's like hard to hard to complain about that. Like now, the ability is very useful, but only in certain matchups. So the fact that you can look at the top four, it's really good versus all of the decks with a bunch of zeros. So it seems to be really good versus villain. Steal their DM, kill their stuff. Forsaken and hitting their own dice. Like that's all really strong plays. Versus hero, it's a whole different ball game. It's much harder because like most of the hero stuff actually costs resources. Um, and then specific situations, when can you easy pick, when can you actually flee? So it's like it's much tougher in the hero matches, but like he seems to be doing fine. When Rainbow Villain supports was like a huge thing because in the one die variant with the Sentinel and the Faust, not Faust, sorry, Greedo, you would just go and like steal their stuff to get out, delve out your own fists or no good to me dead your own stuff. So it was definitely an interesting one. He does get the Snoke's Guards next set, which makes it much more reasonable to go 4 die at that point. Still a very low health pool, but he should be in a much better position at that point. The question is going to be is like what else is running around that could just go and ruin him, right? But we'll see what happens because like we're expecting a round of nerfs again prior to CM, and it's really going to boil down with what happens there. But one second, just sharing this stuff. So the big thing is like it's hard to gauge what kind of balance changes they're gonna make, but my overall expectation is I think they're gonna just straight up murder droids. I don't know how they're gonna do it. If I had to put money on something, they would have to somehow obliterate what faithful companions. In testing, we were trying like 5 die variants, like no faithful. The deck was kind of okay, but because you lost one of your damage dice to start, and the fact of the matter is, you could only focus once and resolve one for +1. It was a much weaker kind of like set of things going on. Whereas the faithful companions for 2 resource or 2 team building points was just a huge thing. You know, it set up a lot of the combat tricks of like, oh, Ewok ambush, flip 2 things, kill your guy. Um, uh, Ewok ambush, flip 1 thing, activate 3PO, resolve these 2 for pumped, and kill your guy. Pump into resources, pump into disrupt, pump into to discard whatever's going on, or damage plus discard your hand. There was a lot of disgusting things at that, like when you could do the doubles. But when it was singles, like yes, while hitting those were good, you like losing out on stuff was pretty bad. So like, would that scale it back enough? I don't know. We could potentially see something stupid where, like, let's say it was not necessarily stupid, but where like Chopper goes on the restricted list so that you can't run Chopper with 3PO. And then just like, well, like, what do you do here? And it's like, you go back to like crappier versions. And it's like, all right, this makes sense. Um, so there's that. I expect them to do something to Fists or Mega and or Delve or No Good to Me Dead, just because the most other things are just kind of low powered outside of like Chopper, right? Like everything else is just like very slow with like the damage for the most part. 1 die for 2 damage or whatever's going on. So being able to go and go from like, oh, I got a resource somewhere, I dealt 2 damage, and then you like heal that, then jam like a fist, and then focus it is really strong. In general, that's a lot you're asking for. But in subsequent rounds, like using that die twice per round is kind of disgusting. Um, so I'd expect one of those sets to get hit. FC's banned. Um, it's definitely possible. So one second. Uh, So Culture Nick Nelson brings in, he worries if even if FC is banned, droids still are a problem, become a big problem again post rotation when they keep all their stuff. That could definitely be an issue. The thing is though is depending. So like if a bunch of the supports get hit and there can be a bunch of aggro, post rotation we're looking at no easy pickings, no hidden motive. If I'm not mistaken, Pacify goes as well. So a lot of their feasible removal gets shot in the face. I can't remember what set automated defense came out of. I think it was an older one though. But if automated stays around, that's like okay, they have 1 drop options, flank automated. So we'll kind of have to wait and see where that comes out from. How about now? Can you hear me now? Um, so it's definitely going to boil down to that. And one second, maybe might be the sound settings I have on, but it should be coming in just fine. One moment, just double checking the mic settings. Yeah. So like I expect some big bad stuff to happen to kind of droids or Chopper in general. Like we haven't seen most of the other stuff come out, but if Chopper gets killed somehow, then we'll definitely see some other guy take Chopper's place, especially with newer and cheaper things coming out. Um, I would expect Raylo to get a small hit somewhere. Um, I don't know what would get hit, but it feels like something has to get junked, right? Like just because when we got all these hits to begin with. Raylo was like, "Yeah, I'm good," and now like people got accustomed and they like got their damage out properly. And Raylo just doesn't have a removal, so they struggle immensely versus the fists and whatnot. But if let's say fists and Mega Blasters are getting hit, and then Chopper's getting hit, it's like, well, what's left to really deal with it? And sure, there's other stuff that can come out, but it'd be insane. Um, Trying to think like what else is there. I don't know. It's gonna be a tough one to see because I feel like there's a lot of stuff. Theed restricted or adjusted again. It would make sense for Theed to get hit. The only dilemma is like we're seeing what Theed and Bendu primarily. Any of the faster decks are like running Bendu. The slower decks or every deck and every other deck in general for the most part is running Theed or Mean Streets, depending if it's Scoundrel based. Um, there's very few battlefields still seeing play. So like do they go and hit those or do they just go and make better ones? Like the fields are pretty terrible. You need a good field for claimability so that fast decks have something there to prevent the slow decks from just kind of like running over with all of the slow actions. You want something that does enough. So like right now we still have what outer room outpost or whatever. Um, so that one's still feasible for any fast decks. We could see Thie just get punched in the ding ding. All right, 1 second. I gotta go check restream chat. All right, Ryan Wags came in and said that automated came from Convergence. Uh, Nikki Morgan asked if Satine AR droids could be a thing again. It could be a thing. It's still one of those ones that struggles with DM. But if most of the metas hit, you could be in a good spot. But I think if something gets hit, then like you probably can't run those together anyways. So like I don't know what would get hit that would like mess up all of those. Like I guess if you point like Chopper another one, point like Chopper R2 and Fateful or something, it would probably just mess up that shit completely. Sentinel Messenger Balance Force +1 could be another target. Yep, it's definitely the most played character at Worlds. It was realistically the only way to get Blue into lineups. And he was a very strong Blue character, so it makes perfect sense. A lot of the other Blue characters are just kind of terrible. Like you don't want any part of Talzin. You don't want like you really just don't want like, any of the other Blue characters. I just don't think they were good. So like if they had other Blue good characters or solid ones that cost like 8, would we have considered running them? Because it was the same thing for like why I ran Night Sister and a bunch of stuff. She was just super consistent. It was hard to get Blue into a lineup. So it was always like, all right, here's my 8-point Blue character. I have 22 to work with to make the rest of the team. But 1 second. So like I don't know. There's definitely just a bunch of stuff that could get hit. Um, yeah. So Coach Judge Nick Nelson comes in. Super cheap access to blue for villain. Also on or above the curve character, and blue villain has the best removal and fist. Um, so blue villain itself is only Forsaken. Blue is hidden motive, so it's like fine. Like that's the reason we kind of always try to get blue into like the rainbow decks. But like for most of the other stuff, blue kind of just doesn't exist. Um, so it's like where do you kind of fit that stuff in? I think saying he's undercosted is very very fair. Primarily because we're looking at 2 damage, focus, resource. The shield you can kind of just be like whatever, and the blink is like whatever. So those 4 sides are very high in comparison. It is still only a single die character. 8 health is solid, but yeah, But it's just that you're coming in only with pretty much those 4 blue cards and potentially Fist. But if Fist gets hit, then do you run him to only run those 4 0 drop blue cards? And the answer is probably still yes, because 2 focus resource is still quite strong. Um, so we could see him get for a +1. It's a tough one to do some of these things because like where do you end up killing off an entire set of things because they just don't print other feasible options. And like I think that's the big thing. Like where when we often look at these small characters, first order stormtrooper, things like that, it's like in comparison to the other stuff, like how good or bad is this? Um, so as far as the CM stuff is, I haven't looked at a ton of it. There's like 27 cards. I don't really get excited about cards, I guess is how I'd say it. I'm not like, oh, I want to play this. This thing's gonna be great. But that's kind of more, the downfall as far as like my persona or the way I think or do things. I think the stuff I would want to see those is I want to see what she and training ends up looking like because she and mastery is kind of interesting when it gets to come out and use it twice to start. Fist esque in that regard, but it still only does it once after. And then like the special dealing 2 damage to a character and removing a die showing damage is quite strong. Uh, General Grievous 3 really does make Sentinel seem kind of insane, primarily because we're looking at what 9 and 7, so we're looking at 16 points when you put them together. So then after that, you're like, all right, well, I can fit a 14-point yellow. Realistically, outside of Forlom, who also gets the discount, we would have been looking at shit like Val. Beckett can't fit in there, but if you can then instead, give Grievous the elite, you're like, all right, well, I got 11 left, and you still have access to Afra, or some other kind of weird stuff. New Boba Fett fits in there. I don't think you would run that, but it does fit. Um, so I'd like who really knows what we end up seeing over there. But I'd say like from the current CM stuff, the stuff I would want to like realistically look into is primarily the whole like Death Field and Sheehan Mastery thing. See if those make up any differences with like Palp, because we don't expect him to really get hit, right? Like he came up and then like fell off again. So maybe they touch Bacta or something for some ungodly reason. And it's like, okay, well, like they wanted to just take that away from him for some, because they felt they were smushing everything else. Um, I don't like the Anakins. I don't care about the Vaders. The Banes, like whatever. I'm much bigger into like the cheap guys. So like the new cheap elites are pretty solid. I think. Snoke's guard removing a die that's showing damage with 2 or less seems interesting because if he's elite, then he's 55% on rollout to be able to trade his die off. Um, but trading off your damage is an interesting concept to remove opposing damage. I thought Sabine Wren was interesting as the 1-2-2 essentially. Um, but man, I'm not like a fan of 13 for 10 health in 1-2-2. I guess at that point it's like Phasma esque, but the last two is indirect. That doesn't seem great to me. But all I can do is kind of wait and hope and see because we got to see the rest of the stuff to what's going on. Like what vehicles are we getting? Is there like crazy insane stuff like Ghost go ambushes and let you activate a Spectre and what Sabine's a Spectre, so then you could like okay play this, activate Sabine, activate the Ghost, like resolve damage. You get like this action cheat one shot. But trying to go look at one of my villain decks and see what we have for other blue options because I just don't feel like there were any. Let's go see. So yeah, your blue options for 8 are Sentinel Messenger, Loose, Dark Advisor. Like Dark Advisor is freaking indirect, so you're just like, yeah, I don't really want part of that. But draw 3 cards, put one on the bottom or top. That's pretty sweet. And then loses like 1-2-1, and it's just like, why don't I just take 2 damage and focus? So it kind of just makes Sentinel Messenger the only obvious choice there. And then if you really really want blue, you can run a Night Sister zombie, but like that's just kind of crazy talk at that point. And after that, we're looking at 9. So Mystic, Force Sensitive, Talzin, Slide More, Old Daka. None of those are like, yeah, must run. I mean, Talzin versus Dark Mystics, I think, is really interesting. They have very similar sides. with Dark Mystics, the discard side essentially turning into a special to play a blue upgrade from your hand or discard pile, and then rolling the die in. Interesting concept. Still have to have some access to the blue upgrade though. Get that energy bow. It's like, yeah, boy. Um, yeah, blue upgrade. I thought it was blue ability, but that makes it more interesting. Got them gun sides for the energy bow, but 9 still is like some ridiculous number. Like, why the hell would you run that? I already don't want to run that when I'm playing like Mando. It's like, yeah, no. Uh, so the thing with Anakin is if they make some ridiculous cards that kind of just do synergy with it, then we're looking at very different kind of statistics, right? Like, so after you activate this character, you may discard a card from your hand to move one shield from a character to another character, then draw a card if you move that shield to an apprentice. So let's ignore the drawing a card part. So essentially, if there's something kind of like, I don't know, a truce where you get 2 shields and your opponent gets 1, and then you activate him and you discard a card to like steal the shield, then essentially we're looking at that activation to be the equivalent to 2 damage. You discard a card to deal or to like deal 1 damage and heal 1, kind of, because you're taking the shield. So it's like, oh, okay, like this seems fine, 13 health. But the fact of the matter is you get a freaking 1 melee and a 1 shield, and you're just like, no thanks, guys. So like a 2 and a 4 is just, or 2 and then the 4 for 1's like, I don't know how I feel about that. 1 single resource, and like when you then compare it to like Big Daddy Vader, you're just like, well, the 1 turned into a 3, the shield became 2, the resource became 2, I got 2 more health, I paid 4, and I can protect my die. So if you're not getting active usage from that ability, he just seems terrible. Um, Even if he gets synergy, like it's really gonna boil down to like how good is that, because you have to do it as you act or after you activate him. So it's not going to be like power action during the turn, discard a card to take it. So if someone has shields out, they're just going to wait for you to activate before they resolve the shield sides. It's just like that doesn't feel amazing. But yeah, so the timer I have at the bottom is not the exact timer, but we'll see what happens. All right, so we do have Mr. Platform coming in from my brain for late night gaming. Yeah, I think they're trying to do discard cards for effects primarily to kind of, I think, limit how OP they could be, right? Like, you only have so many cards in hand. So if you're constantly having to pitch and you're trying to play any cards and reroll, it really kind of hems all of that up. But we got some frame drops. What's happening here?
Testing.
I think we're still okay.
Can you hear me, Joe?
But we'll play it by ear. If the frame drops get kind of crazy, then what we'll do is we'll drop the bit rate a little bit. Like have to like stop, restart the stream essentially.
Can you hear me, Joe?
All right, so let's go see. All right, so one moment. We do have Platform, aka Anthony Montone, joining in with us,
Can you hear me?
but I think my sound's disabled. So one moment. You guys might be able to hear him, but I don't. Yo, Platform,
Yeah, yo, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
All right.
Welcome.
Afternoon.
Afternoon.
So obviously, it looks like round 1 is complete.
It ended in about 8 minutes to catch you up with everybody else. Uh, It was Padme Leia 3 versus Afra EGG Sentinel Messenger. And he hit 6 specials to the face and paid off 3 of them, I think, and died.
Oh wow.
Or
Oh
no,
wow.
so yeah, no, he took more than that. Sorry, he took 7 specials and paid off 3.
All right. So Padme obviously won that one.
Yeah,
Good.
but it was a little rough because Del Fist came down round 1, so Leia was going to be close to death. But
Wow. Interesting that Padme and Leia are coming back around now.
there's a lot of 3-wide. It makes perfect sense.
Absolutely. So we are what 15 minutes till next round.
I don't know. So I put 20-minute timer. We're currently seeing round over on that. So we could be seeing people in a few minutes. We could see people in about 10 minutes. Both of those seem very feasible. But
I know my teammate. He's 1-0 solo.
Solo, good job, Solo. He's on Vader.
Of course.
Always.
So okay, cool. Well, hopefully get some new action here soon. We had Matt Ranks on last night on Late Night Gaming. That was a lot of fun. Guy can tell some stories. I can tell you that, Joe.
But Jeff, this is Platform from Late Night Gaming, or Anthony Montone Jr. So, gonna throw in them plugs. Let's switch over to the sponsor tab. Do one of
Okay.
those real quick. So this stream is sponsored to you by Game Shop of Destiny. They currently have a coupon code Black Friday for 25% off. It also gives free domestic shipping on any orders over $30. www.gameshopofdestiny.com. That coupon code goes through until Monday. I don't know if it dies on Monday. Sale
Good
ends
chance.
on December 3rd.
There's a good chance Nick will honor that, though. He's cool.
Yeah. So I think you get through the end of Monday based on that concept. So I would definitely check into that, see if there's any singles you guys need. 25% off is a pretty steep discount. Typed out the code in chat for you guys in case you wanted to check them out. And trying to type that is just hard. I lost my restream chat though. All right, there we go. So, what are you excited about in CM platform?
Oh man, I tell you what. After watching this Poe Dameron deck last night, I have to admit Poe Dameron looks pretty cool. If people can figure it out.
Yep.
The Jedi Trials thing looks great. One of my teammates has got that thing working. But of course, we have to see more of the cards. There's only 30 or 40 cards out, so a lot more cards to be shown.
Definitely.
I mean, that set looks like it's going to change everything up, though. No doubt about it.
I don't know. How do you feel about the alternate win conditions? I hate them.
I have to see it in action, actually. I don't know. Some people were saying they like it. I don't know how I feel about it. It does make hard to game plan your deck now for all these different things that could go on. It's almost a little more random now.
I don't know. I feel like anything that would work versus regular decks also works versus both of those decks because they have to have dice on the table. So even if they go and they resolve, let's say the 20 damage or the 20 damage to destroy the Death Star for the shields, they still have to re-roll one of their pilot dice and one of their vehicle dice. And both those dice have to show damage. So if you successfully mitigated all of those dice of the one side, they can't do it.
Yeah, and also the constructed Death Star thing is interesting. Like you're just going to be taking damage the whole time while you're trying to make money to throw on that plot.
Mm-hmm. And if you spent 15 resources worth of stuff at it, it's just like, wait a second.
You could have really had a heck of a board state with 15 resources.
Yep. I mean, that's why I dislike them. If you dealt 20 damage or you paid off 15 resources, you probably were in a much better spot.
I guess the real question is it going to be competitive?
I'm going to go with no, unless they create some insane stuff where like 0 cost, increase your damage by 2 when you're trying to destroy the Death Star. Remove X number of your dice showing resource, remove triple that number from construct the Death Star. Something like those lines would probably be capable of doing it at that point, because then it's like, oh, I have like 4 resources, I took 12 off. So like maybe they don't go triple, maybe they go double, but I'm not excited about double.
I mean, in a game where we're talking where your main character is probably gone end of round two. And these decks are looking, or these plots look like they need to go to round 3 or 4.
Yeah,
That's a real tough swing, man.
it is indeed. It is indeed. All right, so let's talk a little bit about Valorious Tribe, which is the only other plot I think I've seen from the set so far, which is the Wookiee one. It is action. It costs 3. Action, exhaust this plot to move up to 2 damage from a character to a character you control. Then you may spot a Wookiee to heal 1 damage from a character.
Very effective. Very effective plot, and I think it can be used in a few ways, especially if with these Wookiees where you can boost to 6 and get yourself more damage.
I agree with the 6 damage Wookiee thing, but the dilemma is going to be is 3 points too much? So essentially, you're getting. Oh my god! I almost said moving rocks. It's definitely not moving rocks.
No, but how much is Tarful?
It's a draw tension with a half a field medic. Tarful I think is like 14 points. I will go double check right now.
You know what, Joe? Do your crazy Destiny math on that plot at 3-point cost and see what that comes out to.
Well, so the dilemma is you're getting a draw attention and half of a field medic every round. So it seems like it just takes too long.
So
if you get to run a big, the small as the Wookiee, in the plot, then we could be talking. But I think if you try to go 3 wide, it's like not happening. Because like, do you really care when you like dangerous maneuver and then heal 1?
Not really.
Yeah. So it's just like for 3, that's a whole lot. We're talking about like that has to be worth a die. So it's essentially a shield and a draw attention every round in concept.
And again, you're only going to get 3, maybe 4 rounds on it. Moving some damage around, healing 1.
Yeah, on its own wise, that's what we're talking. We do have some movement coming in, so let's switch back over to the live game. We're waiting on this.
Oh, here we go.
I will get that round set up. We have a Raylo.
Bendu's Lair.
Okay.
That Bendu's Lair is showing up everywhere.
It has. Well, so it's one of those big things where I think people just never gave enough credit to other battlefields, and we often talked about running battlefields that suited what your deck needed to do, and feed if your deck just didn't need to rely on the additional resource was kind of irrelevant. Whereas Bendu, the 2 shields, the extra damage, the focus, even then you could still get a resource. It was all like pertinent to the situation, and you really just didn't want your opponent to give you your battlefield.
Not at all. Looks like we got Solo on the left.
We do indeed have Solo on the left. We have recognized the left player both times.
There he is with his Vader. He's been working on this for a while.
So, Couch Judge Nick Nelson comes in versus damage decks. I think you're going 6 rounds. The health is going to be real. I don't think you get 6 rounds versus anything.
Where are you catching the chat?
Twitch. I have Rushin though, so I see the chat in both. But I don't think 6 rounds in anything makes realistic sense, and you may be out of your goddamn mind.
6 rounds, man. No game. Hardly any games go to 6 rounds.
I don't think I've seen a game ever go to 6 rounds in the last like 6 months to a year. He's talking about Wookiees. Man, go to sleep. Probably on this like fortitude jank stuff, but if you don't kill your opponent, you're not going 6 rounds. You're gonna have dudes get blown up, even if you play fortitudes and you Valorous Tribe. Like, sure, the main target might be capable. But we're talking that the plot is essentially a dangerous maneuver and a half a field medic every round, and that protects your main guy to an extent, but it doesn't keep you from dying. And that's the main concern.
I think it's more of a strategical thing. Like, so if your Wookiee's at 5 and you move some damage to him, you can increase the die out there and get some extra punch.
That's fair. For Kashyyyk Warrior, I like that immense because Kashyyy's 10 health, and it's 11 points. So if you count it as a 14-point character, it's like, okay, 1/1, 2 for 1, disrupt resource, 10 health. It's like, But when you're shifting damage and healing 1, like that's going to be quite strong. Because then you're looking at 2/2, 3 for 1, and then single disrupt resource. Because it only pumps character dice showing damage. So at that point, we're looking at like, oh, that's OG Grievous. So if you're capable of getting him up to the 6, that's fine. But also when you're at 6, we're talking 4 more to die.
And if he's rocking one of those fortitude upgrades on the back end, where he's getting extra 4 health.
Fair, but if you paid 2 to get 4 health, you're probably dying anyways.
Yeah. Also, unblockable. Doesn't that avoid that upgrade? Or is it
Fortitude.
extension of health?
It's an
Fortitude is
extension of health. It's not
okay.
shield.
Not
Yeah.
shields. Okay.
All right. So they shuffled up. We got some draws going. I see a Forsaken hopping in there.
Yep. I like the hand cam.
We're trying. We're trying. They did have to shut off the lights though because of the glare, so it makes it much harder to actually see from the hand cam. But I think I see a Fear and Deadman right there.
So who do we have on the right?
I do not know,
Hmm,
but I know I need to start this timer so we know what's going on.
got it.
All right. So once again, these timers are not 100% accurate. This is just kind of for us to pay attention and be capable of knowing when stuff's getting close.
So this should be a good matchup. I don't see if Edward gets out there and gets in some damage first, if he can keep him off of shields with Vader, could be a close. I mean, you never know. These matches very close. This one's nobody's got this one right off the gate.
No, I think Raylo's way ahead in this match. In case you're unaware. So the main dilemma is that Vader can't punch 11 through quickly, like not like round one, right? He
Hmm.
can't punch 11 through round one, and his mitigation suite is so lacking that if Ray is allowed to just put 3 shields on a guy, uh, it's not like he's going to be in some situation where he's getting blown apart. So Vader's going to probably be taking like 8 damage, maybe. Shields aren't going to do anything for him. So he's going to go to half health, and he probably going to half health one of those guys.
He's going to have to play clever. The Vader player is going to have to play clever.
We'll see what happens because Solo is on the pit. And you do have to remember that Ray can just blink one of Vader's dice instead of trying to flip Kylo to a special. Solo's like, I don't need these big things.
No, I think he's going to roll in Greedo.
He rolls in Greedo because he's like, oh, I want to use this Forsaken, which is realistically a common tactic that pops up. So any opponent should be, a little bit aware of that kind of going on.
Yeah, obviously, either that or he can front the Forsaken too. You never know.
What do you mean?
Like if he doesn't have it in his hand, just roll out the guy to make him think he has it.
Correct. But the problem is that people do that, and that sets him in a bad position. If he rolled out the Vader instead, he'd be able to go and resolve one, and the Forsaken's hidden, and him leaving it like that is the fighting pit thing. So like the mindset ends up being on fighting pit more than the Forsaken.
All right, so he took the 2 indirect across the shields.
He did, and it binds all things here. 2 indirect into the shields is kind of weird.
Yeah, I don't know that. I would leave a shield on Kylo to get that action.
So I think we got a 3 and a 2 there.
He's going to tap it binds. Playing even training. Or is that Untamed Power?
That's Untamed Power.
Yeah.
He's clearly not afraid of either, though, so they may both be 2s. Which makes sense to him just not using the Ray there. Ray's rolling out. We get a special. A disc, no, special 1-1. Fighting pit goes up.
Things that would win this game for a Vader would be like if he played Neiman Mastery on Vader and could play draw closer and do some stretch damage.
This is how you lose a game with Vader. You both hit 0, and now this Untamed Power is trying to go.
Untamed Power alone could tear Vader apart.
Not really.
They keep removing his die and getting a shield. Or
It
whatever
does.
that
It
is.
does. It's very useful for stuff like that.
Oh, he's going to roll it back in.
Oh yeah. There's no way he's gonna lose his die like that.
Now, I will say if he does drop a fist down on the board at some point, that might help him out.
Sure. But that's somewhere way later. Like there's a no good to be dead in his hand.
Is that a special on Kylo, I think? Yeah.
That is indeed a special on Kylo.
All right. Pretty good start for the Raylo player, actually.
All right.
I can't see what that card is. Forsaken?
I'm gonna say that was I performed violence.
Yeah, because he threw 4 on.
Because it threw 4 on him, and he had ambushed to Forsaken the die.
Yeah, it was a good play.
we'll find out if that's good or not in a second. Depends on what he gets here. Like I don't know what his overall concern was with him burning the act perform violence like that. Because if he wanted to resolve the damage, he could have just done that to begin with. He could have done it without the resource pay, um, and he could just forsaken after. But I guess he just really wanted to stop the 2 damage. So essentially, he made Forsaken cost 1 in that regard. So like he paid 1 to get a damage and get rid of the special. But Ray still has her PA, so him re-rolling here is like pretty irrelevant.
I think that's 2 shields showing on Vader.
It is. We get a conflicted. How did he conflict? Did he take a resource somewhere? Oh, no, it's a pitch to reroll. We get a discard here and a resource. That was 2 shields, and he decides to take those. But we're gonna get a Ray PA back here for the special.
Right, and then he's going to roll that die back in.
Yeah,
I'm
so
not sure I take the shields at all.
you definitely can't. You'd have to wait.
So that just kind of ate his die for nothing, and now he gets to pop it back in and take
And he
2
gets
more.
it again. Yeah,
And he's going to claim. And he didn't use. Did he use Fighting Pit?
he did. He hit the blank on his and the special on Ray.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah, he rerolled the ones when he had bigger sides. It was just a bunch of weird stuff. Yeah, guys, we're like what's going on?
Yeah, it's interesting this first round already.
You used the word interesting. I don't like that word here.
Well, I mean, they're not plays that I don't think I would probably make, or you, or a lot of other folks. But these guys are playing that game, and we don't see everything, so you never know.
Nah, I'm gonna go with bad as a bad play. It's
You
my
know me.
poor guy.
You know me, man. I'm a nice guy. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go ahead and be kind.
Thank you.
Oh, he's got a shield wall up though. This is not good for Vader. This is when you really got to watch it with Raylo.
Indeed.
I mean, the tricks get up there. I mean, you're looking at a polarity. You've got 2 on you already, and
Oh
you got.
man, Drew from YouTube coming in with a great commentary by Joe. Only one world's invite Cologne. What a dick. All right.
I am watching the Twitch commentary.
Yeah. So we start off the round. What does he even do here?
Oh yeah, who's using flip tokens? That drives me nuts.
That's a soloist, man. That's your team. Your whole like team uses flip tokens. What do you mean who's using flip tokens?
Like damage or money, they flip it over and back
No,
and
he
stuff like
flips the
that.
game, man. That's fair. Nick Nelson coming back in with Vader's more afraid of damage than the shields. You can deal with shields, can't deal with damage. Or can't deal with dying.
So it's Nick Nelson on the right.
No. Nick Nelson is on chat. The Gandor.
Okay, that's a 4 I pay, and I think a 3.
It's a 2 or 3, but the main part's that 2 shield.
Yeah.
I'm really intrigued by the 4 being hit there, primarily because he was broke. So like he
Yeah.
now has like he can just grab the 2 shields and pull his die back out.
Did he already use his power action?
No,
So he could roll that Vader eye back into the pool.
that as well, yes. What does this man do? Okay.
I think they're sorting out the damage.
I think they were saying the untamed power was doing the wrong effect. So it was supposed to be get a shield and then remove a die showing damage.
Right.
So he messed up that other time too then, and he dealt the damage and then did it. If he had the special chain off of Ray to be able to grab the shield, remove his die, then raid the 2 more shields. So that got completely missed.
Dude, they got it straight now though, because it looks like they straightened it up. He got back some damage and put a shield on Ray, and
They did, but the main dilemma is that they messed it up the last round.
he has to roll that Vader die back in. You got to get every max value out of all those dice at all time.
And he does.
Hey, somebody's at my door. I'll be right back.
Yep. So we get a fighting pit there. Yanks the shields back off. So he's in an interesting spot here because the Vader Saber being able to get 2 shields and pull his die back. If he can dodge the Kylo specials.
So, okay, I'm back. What did he still has his dice in the pool, which tells me I don't know much removal. Um, our Raylo player has right at the moment,
Well, there's an heirloom in hand, and I can't see the other cards.
and he used the Ray power action, so his soft removal's gone.
Oh, he definitely has no money for the Vader ability. You're correct. But did he pitch the no good to me dead? Because I was pretty sure he still had it.
Hmm. It's hard to tell with that glare on the pile of cards.
Yep. Indeed.
All right, so he still has $1 left though. This Raylo player, building his board state nicely.
So he gets another one here.
And in comes Kylo.
Blank, blank one.
Yeah, got some work to do. So we got a 1 gun on Greedo and a 2 shield side on the Vader Saber.
Oh. So he
Why?
must not have the no good to me dead. I don't know. Like the PA for Ray was been used. So he's gambling on the special coming up because there was a 2 on heirloom. The special does not hit. We get a discard and a resource there. And then Ray has 2 more resources.
He
One
takes
punch
and shoots
again.
in for 1. So he's got 8 on Ray. 3 more to get rid of Ray. Right? 4, 5, 9. 2 more to get rid of Ray.
Indeed. Question is gonna be how much are you taking here?
So, I mean, he's lost. I think he's used both his conflicteds.
Kylo missed both specials. He pitched those to reroll. He didn't use them.
Okay.
This Kylo dice are terrible though. He's got a Luke's protection in hand, which he pitches to reroll. Solo still hasn't claimed. So does he have a hidden? Is he just chilling?
Could be fronting it.
Misses the special again.
Not good for him, man. Not good.
But he's been missing everything for the most part. So he now has like 4 damage there showing. He'll probably pitch that last card as well.
There's the hidden.
Yep.
Good call, Joe. And you get rid of the heirloom.
Yep. Well, he was waiting on the special. But at some point, you have to just stop waiting, right? Like,
I don't know what card's under that hole in his hand.
discard for one of the 2 in his hand.
I'm not sure what card the Raylo player's sitting on.
I don't know what card that was. It kind of looked like a Neiman to me, but that might not be in the list.
He flashed it too quick.
Yeah.
So he's choosing card. All right. What did he get rid of on the discard? Curious.
I think it was like a Neiman. I actually could not see it that well.
Okay. So he's going to drive in the remaining damage and raise lightsaber. Vader with 4 damage on him. I mean, 11 to go. In pretty decent spot. I've seen Ray hang on though with 2 shields and 8 and 9 damage for a long
There is
time.
an entangle in hand, so he can stop a bunch of dice here. He's only taken 4. He's 11 left. He's in a strong spot if he can roll out and just kill Ray. He's a DM there, but that's like less useful than necessary.
Could be a good card used to pitch and reroll in the power action. Ooh, I think that's a +4 and a 4. Yeah, 4 pay and a +4.
Yeah, that is a lot.
And 2 money.
Let's see what we get here. We get a polarity.
So he's going to do the thing.
He's gonna do one, get a shield, and Kylo, and then he should probably race PA here to flip that 4 into a blank. Oh, he's gonna hidden motive it.
Not hidden mode in the saver?
So,
oh my lord!
The reason he can't is because the 4 for 1 would just kill Ray. If he was willing to have Ray just straight up die, he could do that.
I think he's avoiding the inevitable.
Potentially.
Oh, blank.
But he does get a spot here to try to roll out Ray and use her before death. He could have, in theory, just PA'd Ray and blanked it, and then left the hit in for the +4 later. But keeping Ray on the back end can be pretty solid. If Solo rerolls both Vaders though, and they both show up damaged, then the Ray PA is irrelevant.
Wonder if he'll hit the fighting pit up.
I just don't see the fighting pit coming out, primarily because there's a 3-for-1 out. If he hits the 4, he gets the kill. If he hits the 2 or the 3 melee, it sets him up for the kill after. But he's at 5 damage. If he goes to 7 and then takes, let's say, the 4 here or 3 here,
Mm-hmm.
that's a world of hurt, because then he's at 10, and then Kylo's gonna have the Ray Saber, the heirloom, and both of his dice to try to finish off Vader. I just don't think he's allowed to go that way.
He's gonna do it. Nope.
No, he's thinking about it again.
You're right, Joe. You are right on this call, though. If he does this, it could be a very bad hurt coming up.
Yeah.
And what do you get? A 2?
No, shield. Oh, he himself, yeah. So he pops the shields. He threatens for the kill here. But one of the dilemmas here is that, so if he takes the 3 and goes to 9, still only has 6 left. The Ray has 1, so he doesn't even want to. I guess he would 6 Kylo, then pay the 1, roll it in, and kill Ray off of it.
Definitely.
That's fine. So he hit the 3 there. That's a 7. So he could put Kylo to 5.
He's going to
5
PA.
damage, not 5 health. He reblanks it.
He had to.
Yeah. Well, he didn't have to. He's in a weird spot now too, because the way that this is. If he has an act of cruelty, yep.
He did it. Act of
Act of
cruelty.
cruelty kills Ray. And
Rock and roll.
He lost all those dice. Yep.
And he pops a card out of his hand too.
Yes. I can see the chat discard a reroll. My mic's all kind of crazy. Tell me about it. What's going on?
He said it's super soft and it blasts out your mic. Solo sitting at 6 damage. Fully health Kylo to go against now with a couple of really nice upgrades.
Let me go check my Hangouts and see if anything switched.
Probably the 2 best upgrades in his deck, Ray Saber and that heirloom.
I don't know. Neiman Master's a real strong upgrade.
He's got room for it to lay that down, though. You know what I mean? Having those 2 down is great, though. He's got a lot of punch.
What does he want this money for?
3, Delphist.
No, that seems terrible. He would want to get this Vader Saber in, right?
Just, calling out potential, Okay, so that's a special? No. Discard a 1 melee.
Yeah, 1 melee resource shield.
Yeah, not much.
We get a disrupt there, I think. Steadfast gets pitched. And he comes in with hot damage. 3 for 1, I think a 2. He's got 7 there.
He's showing all, yeah. 7's a lot for Vader to take. He needs to do something about that.
It's definitely way too much to take.
And he's got the money to put Vader Saber, put a die back in the pool. I didn't see his hand in the hand cam.
Yeah, if the Kylo player doesn't resolve the 3 right away, that disrupt should 100% just go and junk that resource. Did Kylo do something that wasn't resolved?
Disrupt the money. I think you need to disrupt the money.
Wait, so the disrupt came out and he didn't resolve the 3 right away? Weak-willed fool.
All right, so he does do the 4.
Or is it the weird? Yeah.
Puts him at 11, man. That's a lot of damage for Vader.
That is, but if he hits any of the damage sides there on the Vader and gets to straight resolve it. Oh, so fear for price to the 4.
Oh,
he gets the 9.
He 9s
him. So he hits him to take 6. Then he pays 1, or 2, and the die comes back out.
That's hot.
And deals 1. Yeah. Fat. Oh, nope,
He's
too
laying
many.
too many. Yeah,
He's got an entangle and a desperate. The entangle is likely to keep him alive. I'd be willing to pitch the desperate to reroll here. The two resources. I think it's irrelevant unless he has a Vader's fist in deck. If he has fists in deck, then it's fine.
he's going
But
for it.
even the two shield tiers is real strong. So he has 2 more damage.
Yeah,
Don't
he's a
reroll that
fighting.
last one.
Next round, he's a fighting pit away.
No. The opponent has claimed the pit.
Oh, you got the pit. All right, so
But the entangle is the big one because he's going to eat 2 dice up. And he can't be shot with the 4.
plenty of
So,
money too.
yeah. So the opponent like plays an upgrade. He gets to roll out and try to kill. His opponent rolls out. He can entangle and just try to stop that right away. He has the Forsaken as a backup plan. We do get the rollout immediately.
He has to.
Yeah.
Oh, blank. Oh, tough roll. He got 2 damage, and I think it's a shield on the heirloom.
All right. He hit both melee sides and another plus. So Kylo's
Oof.
dead here without some sort of beguile or something. We get a cross guard for 1, and Kylo's dead.
And that's the end of the game. Boom.
Yep.
That's how Vader does it. Yeah, man. That's it. Hot fire. Hot fire. That was pretty wild.
Let's call him Dylon from now on.
Man, that was such a big roll. I mean, that's how Vader does it. He just lays out a ton of damage. You just can't do anything about it sometimes. I mean, you can remove 1 die, but when you got 3 of them laid up like that, 3, 3, and 4, something like that, it just gets crazy.
Well, realistically, that was primarily the extra damage was off of the Vader Saber because it hit for a 4. It pulled the die back out for 1 more. That was like 5, and then it got to use that die. It was like 6, 7. And this really only happens because the opponent doesn't have mitigation or what. If he had just instead raid the Vader die, he would have been capable of hidden motivating the plus after. And then if that's out of the way, he's in a much safer spot.
Yeah, definitely the sequencing in that round 2 was a little awkward.
But we got Mike Christensen asking who was playing in that match. Don't have both players' names, but I think it's James Todd, solo
Yep,
YG.
Todd James. Yep.
And then we do not know the opponent, and we definitely cannot read that.
Can't read that slip.
No.
No, I couldn't even read the dice.
No.
I'm not going to read that slip.
Raylo versus Vader Greedo. Vader Greedo on the left, Raylo on the right.
So, how many people are at the Cool Stuff tournament? Did we find
I have
that
no
out?
idea. I can ask, but we're losing frames, man. Why are we losing frames? Their internet's, I think, a little rough. All right, so guys, this is what I'm going to do real quick. I'm going to hit end stream. I'm going to switch this to a slightly lower bit rate. And make sure that the settings are on for high quality. So just give me 10 seconds.